Go live. And we're live. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jay Skinner, and you're at the Buyers and Sellers Show here live. And I always pop on just a little bit early, give everyone a chance to get on. And this is a great show today that we have. I'm proud to say that we're going to be featuring Mr. Doug Wing. He's a former co-owner and vice chairman of the Little Giant Ladder Systems and has lots of things to say about life and living. And I think the idea today was we're going to love people and use money, not the other way around. Anyway, while people are coming on, how about a song? This is called Girl from Ipanema. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Skinner, and this is the Buyers and Sellers Show. Every Friday at 10:35 Eastern Time, you can join us. Oh, all right. Glad to have you. I'm so glad you're here. And I just want you to know that this is such a super day. How many of you have been to a trade show or been to one of the hardware stores or something, or gone out into your garage and you saw this awesome ladder that does a billion different things, is incredibly safe and wonderful, and you wondered, where did this come from? Well, chances are it came from the Little Giant Ladder Systems Company. And there's a long story about that, and a fellow that has become a friend of mine, Mr. Doug Wing, and he's in the green room, and I want to bring him in right now. So here we go. Hey, and I click the button, and there's my friend, Mr. Doug Wing. Hi, Doug. How you doing?
Morning, Jay. How are you today?
Fantastic. I'm so glad you're here. This is a special day for me, and I appreciate you being here. I'm going to do a real quick flip right over here to make sure we're looking at each other. For everyone that's online with us, I want you to know a little bit of a logistics here for me. I've got a screen here and a screen here and a screen there and one laying down here. A lot of things going on and managing this broadcast. And so if you see me looking around, that's what's going on. And if you just joined, there's a piano right here. And I try to play some music at the beginning and end. Also, just want everyone to know that over here in comments, we really enjoy people commenting. And we've already got someone, Scott Rickard. Good morning. Thank you for coming. Do you know Scott by chance, Doug?
I do. He's been on quite a few of the shows I've been on, and he's a friend of Ken Wall's as well. So good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Scott. So throughout, I want everyone to be sure and type in comments and join us. And what we'll do here is make sure that we talk to you towards the end, especially, and this is an opportunity for you to really get to know Doug and get to know me. The whole idea behind the Buyers and Sellers Show is do unto your vendors as you want your customers to do unto you. And think about the silver rule, and then it's evolving into something even better, which is reinvent, restart, and rebuild, which a lot of people are doing. A lot of businesses, people and business owners and presidents and other people right here are in that rebuild mode. And then this topic was very special. As I got to know Doug, I knew that his heart was very much about the people. And so without any further ado, I just want to show you one more thing, Doug. And that's this right here. Look at this. Is this a surprise? Ha! Doug,
Yeah.
what am I looking at?
You're looking at a picture of my dad standing next to a Select Step Little Giant step ladder. Yeah, that's amazing. He's still on quite a bit of the marketing materials, and of course, he's still in the infomercial even after passing away in 2012. He really was the star of the infomercial. He had so much passion for the product. Even though we did hire some talent for the infomercial, I think my dad was really the superstar of the infomercials.
Yeah. Now I got a little note right here that says, you and I were talking the other day, and you mentioned this big thing. I'm going to kind of hit 1987 and this. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what happened in 1987 and some of the things that were part of your dad's reinvent, restart, and rebuild?
Well, a lot of people, see the success of the company and think it was overnight, which many people don't realize. Little Giant was started in 1972, and it had a lot of ups and downs. And excuse me, about 1980, 81, my father actually sold the company and sold it to a big corporation in California. And within, 4 or 5 years, that company took down not only Little Giant, but also all the other companies they had owned. And a lot of people lost millions of dollars, including a lot of professional athletes that had invested in this large corporation. So, around 1986, 1987, Little Giant was no more. And my dad, decided to start the company again. There was going to be a sheriff's sale, and he had no money, no collateral, anything like that. He walked into a bank in Springville, Utah, and met with the CEO and said, "Hey, I need $1 million cash, and I'm going to buy the assets back to Little Giant. I'm going to start the company up again. I don't know how I'm going to pay you back, but I promise you I'll pay you back. Will you give me the money?" And the CEO of the company stood up and shook my dad's hand and said, "Hal, we've always believed in you. You've always kept your word. We totally believe in you, and we're going to do this. We're going to give you the money." So on a handshake, a verbal deal and a handshake, my dad got the money and went and bought the assets back to the company and started it again. And the one thing I really learned from my dad was that he had integrity as he went through this process, because there were a lot of our vendors that we had been working with that they were owed a lot of money from the old company that was owned, that had bought Little Giant. And my dad actually went back to all those vendors and said, "Hey, if you'll give me credit and work with me and let me start this thing again, I promise you I'll pay all the money back that I owe you from the old company." And every one of the vendors except one worked with my dad, and he paid everybody back over time. So yeah, he had integrity for sure.
This right here came from your dad. We've been talking about win-win, and then when I go to negotiation seminars with the negotiation guy that I studied with, we talk about both win situations. Your dad was into both win a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that saying that he's, right there, that's in front of us, if it's not a good deal for everyone around the table, it's not a good deal. Just really spoke to who he was as a person. A lot of people are in business just to make money and to stick it to people. And, my dad believed in long-term relationships with his vendors, with his distributors. And, he wanted them to be successful as well, because he knew if they were successful, then he would be successful. So he was very fair. Like I said, had total integrity and honesty, and always cared about the other person as well.
That brings us to the topic that I know has interested some people. Love people and use money, not the other way around. What's your philosophy about that? Why is that something appropriate for us to be talking about today?
Well, again, this was another one of my father's excellent philosophies was that people, meaning his employees, were his greatest asset. And there's a little plaque on the outside of the building at Little Giant that says, if you concentrate on building the business and not the man, you will not succeed. But if you build the man, then the rest will, you achieve both. And so that was really my dad's philosophy was, I'm in this to, build ladders, but really I'm building people, and then they build ladders. And so he was really excellent at seeing potential in people. He always hired from within and promoted from within. And, he saw a lot of value in people, and I think sometimes they didn't even see that value in themselves, but he could see that, hey, someday this guy's going to be a leader for me or my company, or a supervisor. One of the best stories of Little Giant is that the current CEO of Little Giant actually started in production building ladders. He doesn't have a college degree, and I just interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and he goes, your dad saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And he was just a fantastic mentor to not only him, but just hundreds of other people that, worked for him.
When you're going around now, how long did you work with your dad? Did you ever work anywhere else, Doug?
No, I didn't.
A little bit about Doug.
Yeah, I started when I was about 10 years old. I started working for my father. And my dad did not cut us any slack. We got up early. We drove to the facility. We cleaned bathrooms and cleaned warehouses, and eventually worked our way up, into manufacturing. And for years and years, we did the same monotonous jobs. And the thing is, in the very beginning, we didn't have modern machinery, and everything was hand built, and it was hard work. And as they've gone through the years, they've been able to go more into robotics and things like that. But it was hard work. And there were times, especially in my teenage years, that I was not happy with my dad, and I was like, this job stinks, and this is just hard work. I should be doing other things like my friends. Are all summer they're having fun and playing around. But looking back now, I appreciate what my father taught us. He taught us how to work hard, and also he taught us to learn everything about the company, every department, every job, and really appreciate those wonderful employees we had who worked so hard for us, day in and day out.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that you really did earn your stripes, didn't you?
Yeah, again, my father was he was not afraid to let a family member go. We've had uncles working there, cousins, and a few of my relatives have been fired before. But the one thing about my dad is he had a huge heart, and he was very forgiving, and some of those came back and continued to work for us. So, but I realized at an early age, hey, just because your last name is Wing doesn't mean your dad's not gonna. If you don't do your job, he's not gonna send you down the road, or you got to pull your weight, type of thing. So for sure.
So here you are now. Let's just, for people to look at this, you've been doing other things since 2019. Certainly you have still have a great relationship with Little Giant, but talk to us about what you're doing now, and how you've evolved from the ladder company to where you are now, and maybe a little bit about what the future looks like for everybody's benefit. We have hundreds, probably thousands. I want to be humble, but the views on this thing have become in the thousands now. Thank you. I say thank you, everyone.
So
just a little bit about this.
Sure.
Why is Doug Wing here?
Yeah. So in 2019, I don't know. I got up in January to go start my year, and I was still working with Little Giant, and I drove to the airport, and I just had this feeling, this is my last year of doing this. I had done it for over 40 years and loved it. It was a great career, but I knew that this was going to be my last year in 2019. So I announced I was going to retire from the company. And then just about a year ago, I started another company with two other partners that I've been friends with for a long time. And about 6 years ago, I got into apartments and started buying real estate, and it was a very good investment for me. So we started a new company and called Bohr Investment Group, and mostly we have we have over 1,000 doors now as far as apartments go, and then we have a property management company. But it's been very successful, and the two partners I have are wonderful. They come from that background, and I'm fairly new to it, but I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations like they are. But so I started that company with those two partners, and then one of the things I really wanted to do was, there's so many wonderful stories that my dad has and experiences through the years and things that he taught me. I thought people really need to know about Hal Wing and about his leadership style and the way he built people. So I started writing a book, and with the encouragement of Jeffrey Gitomer, who told me, he says, hey, you got a lot going on in your life, but you need to tell this story. People need to know about Hal Wing and Little Giant and the things you learned and the philosophies of the company, because the culture is so unique. And so I started working on that, and I'm really excited about that and the opportunities to let people know about my dad and about his leadership and the way he built a company, and that just his persistence and dedication to everyone there. And so I'm real excited about that. Those are the things I'm really working on right now.
You know what? We've got more people joining, and there's Tom Bogosky. I remember the first time I saw Doug speak on Jeffrey Gitomer's show, and I remember afterward thinking, I need to be more like that guy. Touche, Tom. Thank you very much.
I know that Jeffrey calls him Big Tom, and wow, what a compliment. I really appreciate that, Tom. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Let's see. Hi, Martin. Thank you for coming. I just want to be sure and say hi to the people that make comments. I found that some people don't. Hey, Sharon, thank you for coming. This is my niece. I got to ask her. My niece is involved in an online sales business, and she has been doing consecutive daily shows for well over 300 days. And Sharon, if you want to pop in, tell us where you are right now. I always like to report on your progress. And oh my gosh, why don't you tell me about this guy? Who is Ken Walls?
Well, Ken kind of started it all. I had met Ken through Jeffrey, and as far as me being on these shows and doing some interviews and podcasts, I think Ken was pretty much the first person that I ever went on live with, and we have become very dear friends. He's been through an incredible journey himself. Boy, that guy has had a very hard, interesting life, but he is one of the most positive, upbeat human beings I know, and it's been a real pleasure to get to know him and to be his friend. And he and his wife Jill are wonderful. They've helped me through a lot of things. They work on my websites and different things like that. If I can't get my phone to work or printer to work, I call Ken because I'm not very good with technology, and he knows it too. He'd be laughing right now if he was on with us, but
he's good.
Yeah, he's a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yes. And so who else is here? Oh, the guy that's been blessing us with Go Live shirts.
Yeah, he sent me one of those. He's a great guy too.
Thanks, Bradley. And here we go, Scott Ricard. There we go. We mentioned you earlier. I'm so glad you came. Really appreciate everybody coming. I want people to know here, feel free to jump in, ask questions. And here's one, says, if you could look back to young Doug a few years back in time, what would you tell him? Felix, that's a great question. There you go, Doug. Good question from my friend. Felix is an international guy, so he's got a good question here. Let's see what you say.
Wow, that is a good question. If I would say, if I was going back a few years and talking to myself, I would encourage myself to have more confidence in myself and my abilities. I grew up, my father had just I mean, he was oozing with self-confidence. And I was really shy. I was real quiet and shy growing up, and didn't do a lot of dating and things like that. And I wish I would have had more confidence in myself, and that kind of came later. But I think just having that self-belief early on in life, and I think a lot of kids struggle with that, teenagers and things, developing that self-belief and confidence in themselves. But you really can do anything that you set your mind to if you work hard enough at it. And I had such a great, wonderful example in my father. And my mother was amazing too. She grew up in Germany and during the war, and they grew up dirt poor. And my mom was amazing because on the one side, I had my dad, who was this huge risk taker and was, bigger than life. And then my mother was more, humble and quiet, but she was a saver. And I'm really grateful that she taught me how to budget, money and take care of money. And she was fantastic. She used to send me to the grocery store and have coupons. And she was very well off. And she'd say, "You take these coupons." I said, "Mom, I'm not going to use these coupons. You don't need these." And she'd say, "If you don't use those coupons," and I find out, she said, "I'll look at the receipt." She says, "I'm going to get after you." So here I am going to the grocery store for my mom, and she was cutting coupons still when she was in her 70s. And she was so humble. And I really appreciate that about my mom, is she really did take care of the things that she had, and was very frugal. So
Gotta love our moms.
yeah.
It's like my mom was the encourager. Whenever the kids chased me off the bus, can you imagine? Or made fun of me or whatever it was, because I was a little, 110, 95-pound weakling when I was wet, probably as a young child.
Yeah, I was one of those too.
Oh my gosh. And she just tell me, "They're just jealous, honey." They're just jealous. Like, great. And it's like, "Thank you. You're great. You're wonderful." She would never quit encouraging me. I think you got similar encouragement, and that kept us going. Oh my gosh, look at this. Sharon Skinner, congratulations. 540. Oh my gosh, 540 consecutive daily lives in her business.
Wow, holy cow. Now, how is she related to you?
She is my niece, my brother's daughter.
Okay, fantastic.
And I'm very proud of her as she's selling these bombs that fizz up in your tub and other things associated with it. And it's a blast, and they have fun on their shows, and she sells them, and it's good stuff. And I will tell you that I actually bought my wife's Christmas gift from Sharon because it was so impactful and so nice and fun and had a story about it. It was wonderful. So thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, very nice, Sharon.
Felix, I feel kids nowadays need more mentors rather than money or material goods. They need spiritual goods. Thanks, Doug. Great stuff. Thank you, Felix, too, for your thoughts. And this kind of brings us on to a question, and we're winding down. So everybody knows I'm 30 minutes up and down. And the only guy that got 2 extra minutes out of me was the king of sales, Jeffrey Gittimer. So, and we go so that when you get on board here, we're going to be, it's not going to take up the rest of your life. But here is the question. Why are you here now, Doug? You could be on a golf course or Tahiti or do anything you want to do. And here you are spending your time talking to people. What's the deal?
That's a great question. Jeffrey Gittimer said to me, "You are not going to just play golf every day for the rest of your life. You have a lot to offer people." And, so I was raised by 2 wonderful parents who gave back. They were givers. They were super blessed and wonderful examples to me, and were involved in a lot of, charitable work and philanthropy. And so, I was taught by example that we've been blessed and we need to give back to people and serve. And so, that's part of just who I am and how I was raised. And so I'm involved in quite a few things right now, different, charitable organizations, and involved heavily with my church and things like that. But it's just wonderful to serve and to help as many people as I can But my parents are the ones that really taught us to do these things, and I'm so grateful for them. We've been so blessed, and it's great to be able to give back and help others, and that's a big part of it. With this book as well, the book is going to bless so many people's lives. They can learn about Hal Wing. They can learn about the culture at Little Giant and his leadership skills and his attributes. And there's going to be a lot of stories in there about his serving and giving back, and amazing stories that I didn't learn of until he passed, and people came to his viewing and funeral and told us about all these things that he did, and he did them all anonymously. And that's really the way to do those types of things. So
can you tell one story? This is our Good Friday service, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is our Good Friday service, you and me and everybody that's joined us. Can you tell us a story about your dad, of something that he did anonymously that you later found out about, that was like, just kind of sums it all up?
Yeah, I can. Our family was at the mortuary, and this lady walks up. Never seen her before in my life, never met her before. And she said, "Your dad bought me a house. I was homeless, and your dad bought me a house." And we were blown away. I mean, some of the things that he did, I mean, who goes around and finds out somebody needs a home and buys them a house? It was unbelievable. We had people come up and say, "Hey, I couldn't afford college, and your dad paid for my college. I wanted to go on a church mission, but I didn't have the money, and your dad paid for my church mission." Things like that just unbelievable things and you never heard about him because he didn't, again, as we talked about just earlier, we didn't brag about those types of things. But yeah, the little lady that came up and said, "I didn't have any place to live, and your dad found out about it and bought me a home." I mean, just totally blew my mind. Just, yeah. They were just so good and so kind and so giving. And they were, the thing that I want to be like my dad, how he was my dad, I think, woke up every morning and had this thought: who can I help today? And if more people did that, if we all woke up and said, "You know what? Who can I help? Who can I bless?" And he looked for opportunities to bless people, and he went out and looked and found them and did it.
Right on, brother. That's what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
And you're doing it now. Okay, this is a scripture.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scriptures, and it was one of my dad's favorite scriptures. It's actually in a book called Mosiah in the Book of Mormon. When you are in the service of your fellow beings, you are only in the service of your God. And that really sums up my parents and the way they were. My dad used to tell me, the money that I have, the things that I am blessed with, are not really mine. They are on loan to me from God. And my dad told me several times, when I meet my maker after I leave this life, he's going to ask me, "What did you do with the things I blessed you with? Who did you help?" And so, he knew that there would be a day of reckoning, a day of accountability, and he did everything he could to help people and bless them. And I think that if we could all do that, boy, wouldn't the world be a lot better place?
It would be. Doug, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with us. For everyone that's listening and wants to get to know Doug better, one of the best ways is go to dougwing.com. You can sign up to hear more information about, find out when his book comes out. You can get in contact. Isn't all your contact information available through there, some way that they can get in touch with you, Doug?
It is, yes, yes. Okay, and great. I appreciate you putting that up there. But yeah, you can find out, you can go and actually get notified. You can sign up to get notified when the book comes out. And we're not going to sell this list or anything, so you won't get any spam or anything like that. But yeah, Jay, I do appreciate this time. It's been wonderful. And yeah, I mean, I just really appreciate the time that we've had today, and we've been so blessed. And what I guess I'll say to people is, anybody listening today, is go out and look for somebody to help and bless.
We're going to do that. And why don't we just start with another song, Day by Day. Day by day. Day by day. Dear Lord, three things I pray. I want to thank everybody for joining us with the Buyers and Sellers Show. I'm Jay Skinner. We had the opportunity to spend time with Mr. Doug Wing. Thank you, Doug, for coming.
Thank
And
you, Jay.
we'll see you all next week, Friday, 10:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss it. Bye now, everyone.
Take care. Thanks.